I wanted to talk about the power of mentors. I've had two mentors in business. The first was in my corporate career, and the second was the mentor that taught me about this business acquisition program. I want to talk about the first one for a few minutes. This was out of college. I got promoted to the largest problem account in a company called the Torrington Company, and got to know my mentor, who was the general sales manager at that time. Together, we worked on a project that ultimately brought the largest order at that time that came to Ingersoll Rand. A lot of people worked on it. I was fortunate to lead the sales effort with him, but it required a ton of internal work as well, manufacturing, engineering, et cetera, et cetera. Last week I got a call from someone who used to work for me, former Navy SEAL, and he said that Art, who's the person's mentor's name, was in hospice palliative care. I called his wife, hadn't ever talked to his wife. We talked about him for a little while. I asked how he was doing. She said he's in congestive heart failure, he's in kidney failure, he doesn't want to go through dialysis because he knows where this ends. And I asked if there was anything I could do, but I also asked if he could take a phone call. And she said he can't talk anymore, but he can hear. And so I made a point of doing that. She held the phone up to his ear. I told him what he meant to me, what I learned from him, thanking him for that as well. And I'm glad I had an opportunity to do that while he was still alive. One of the things that's important in picking mentors is there something that's beneficial to both of you? Most of the time what I hear is, can you help me? I get that part of it. But in the case of Art, he became a vice president of sales. I eventually headed up the Detroit office, and both of us contributed to the other person's success. I learned tons from him about sales. I learned tons from him about how to handle tough situations with customers. He was fearless, as the former Navy SEAL told me, and I agreed with. He was not afraid to go into those situations. He was excellent at handling those type of customers and ultimately succeeding. And I want to tell you two quick stories, both of which involved the General Motors company. We had won a large contract. It was going to be what they call dual source to two suppliers. We were called in to sit down and understand what was going to happen with this program because there was a decrease in the volume, and they might have changed from two sources to one source. So when we got back to the hotel after that meeting, Art said, let's go have a drink, Bruce. So we went to the top of the nice hotel in Rochester we were at, and he reached in his coat pocket and he gave me a bonus check. And I said to him, I don't know where this is going to end up, Art. We were dual sourced, now we're single sourced. Potentially, and so I'd rather I not take that check. That check was a lot of money for me in those days. And he said, Bruce, you earned this, and they can fire me before I take that check back. That check is yours, whether or not we get this business or not. Stand up guy. The second one was that same customer in a negotiation, which was a brutal negotiation, and there probably were 15 people in that room. So the purchasing manager said, I think we're done here. Our VP Art had asked if he could have his secretary, the purchasing manager's secretary, push off our plane reservation. Again, he said, I think we're done here. When's your flight? We said an hour. He said, you'll make that flight. No problem, because I want you to leave now. And a group of the people, it was a pretty large group from our side too, stood up. Art looked at me, I looked at him, and he said to the purchasing manager, you can get security to remove us, but that's the only way we're going to leave this meeting. The rest of the people that had stood up sat back down. Art and I were already sitting. We ultimately had a discussion. We reached an agreement. But again, how to handle a situation where essentially you're being thrown out. So I would encourage you to find a mentor, find one where you can mutually benefit each other. And in my case, Art's not going to live much longer, but he can live in my memories, he can live in the lessons that he taught me, and he can live by the actions that I take with those lessons. So I hope that helps you to understand the power of a mentor, what it meant for me in that case, and what you can do to better choose a mentor and then use a mentor for both of your benefits. So on that note, I think if you do that, you will get further ahead than if you don't do that, and I hope you take some action on that. In addition to this recording that I just did, I did this recording early this morning. I then had a Zoom business call, and after that call, I called Art's wife, Harriet, and just said yesterday I was thinking about them during Thanksgiving, wondered how she was doing and wondered how Art was doing. I think I probably already knew the answer to how Art was doing. After a long pause, she said that Art died yesterday. We talked about Art for a little while again, and she said, you know, Bruce, he had a really full life. He had a great business career. He built and flew airplanes. He loved Corvettes and did an exquisite job rebuilding and restoring Corvettes, which he loved. And I said, you know what else, Harriet? He had a pretty damn good wife. And she laughed and said, thank you for that, Bruce. But I think one of the really important things with mentors, do your giving while they're living. It was really important for me to call him. It was really important while he was living to again tell him what he meant to me, what I learned from him, how that impacted my life. And that, for me, was really important to do. Emotional? Sure. Glad I did it, absolutely. And for my remaining business mentor, I wish him a very long life. We've had a long career together. He's taught me a ton of things. It's been mutually beneficial, I believe. And so I wanted to, if he sees this video, tell him that as well. But again, pass back on the comments, let them know how they've helped you. Most importantly, put into action what they've taught you, the lessons you've learned, and that's the best way you can honor that relationship. But do your giving while you're living, really important thing to remember.